Okay, we are live.
Thank you. So good morning, everybody. This is the very last coffee or tea with President Pamela. So I thought since it is Good Friday that I'd wear bunny ears this morning just to generate some laughs and smiles and have a good time. I can't believe that it is April the 7th, much less Easter. Before we went live, we were talking about how fast the year has gone, how busy and how gracious that city clerks are when you go to them for advice or opinions or questions or just a chat, that they always are willing to lend an ear. If you need information or you need a mentor or you feel like you just want to talk to somebody about a situation, you never know if that clerk that you've chosen to talk to has not been through the same thing as you're going through. My husband, Mr. Smith.
Hello.
He is walking around at house. So if you happen to hear dogs bark, those are the puppies since I'm working at home. And as a matter of fact, hold on just a minute. Where's Mr. Puppy? Mr. Puppy!
He's right there.
Okay. All right. So this is Mr. Puppy, everybody. He is a little baby. He is 7, but he's still a little baby. So since I'm here, I thought I'd introduce. We have a couple of other dogs, but Gabby is 10, and she's cross between what is she? A golden retriever and a brown spotted Dalmatian. So she's white with brown spots. And then we have a Brussels Belgian we rescued in September. But anyway, so most of you who know me at any level know that I am all about dogs and cats and rescue. I'm a heavy member of the ASAPC, however that acronym is, because
PCA.
PCA. But you know, I think as clerks, we have a passion to help one another. We also have a passion to help our community. For me, part of that is animal rescue. I can't be a foster mom. And the reason past Region 3 director, there she is. So, and we are supposed to have Angela Richburg, who is Region 4, and Lana Anthony, which is Region 10, was supposed to be on. And then I was looking forward to introducing Linda Carter. I don't know if she's on, but she's the president of FLCC, which is the United Kingdom portion of our membership in Region 11. So I met her when I was in Scotland with past President Mary Johnston. And even though it was cold and windy and rainy, we had a really good time and walked everywhere, which is their mode of transportation. And it's very hilly. So if you think you're able to walk and you've been really getting on with your exercise in Florida, let me tell you, we had no heels and they had a lot of them. So it was a challenge for me. But hopefully Angie or Lana or Linda will pop in so that you can see them. Yesterday, I wanted to let you know that the board met because we had asked staff to look at a wealth company to possibly invest our $1 million that we have been growing for about 10 years now. And once we met the $1 million mark, we thought it a good idea that we try to invest these monies to grow IMC and help us to be physically stable even more than we already are. So the board decided yesterday to choose a wealth company in California, of course. We will be investing $750,000 and it'll be divided so we have an opportunity for CDs or I can't remember the whole conversation because I am definitely not a finance person, but just so you know, we will be investing $750,000 $250 we will leave in the bank just in case something happens with IMC that we feel like that we need some cash. So I think that's partners, but it does give you a flavor of who they are. And I have found that this committee is so excited about growing the international community and being at the booth in the vendor hall. Remember, they always have a booth at the vendor hall. And last year they gave away wooden tulips, and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. These are wooden tulips. Aren't they cool? So when Mary Johnston and I went to Scotland, of course, we had to go through Amsterdam and Schiphol Airport, and we were walking through to get to our connecting gate. And of course, we had to peer in every store that was there in case we found something. And the first thing I saw were these tulips. Well, you know, I have an affinity for the Netherlands and tulips because I was lucky enough in 2009 and 10 to be the first exchange clerk with Andres Knevel, who is one of the most wonderful people I have ever met in my life. But I thought when I saw these, how awesome to have a part of the Netherlands at home, because I didn't take the opportunity prior to this trip to even purchase this. So they're really cool. And Mary has 5 and I have 5 so that we can, you know, remember our trip a little bit. But last year, the international relations table in the vendor hall gave away wooden tulips, I believe, Elko, and they went really fast. I mean, I didn't even get one. What's up with that, you know? So I had to buy my own because the International Committee would not save me one. I don't understand it. But anyway, so now I have my own, and they can give them out to everybody if we get lucky enough to have them this year. So as you know, our conference is coming up very quickly. And I was just talking to Karen, and she said it looks like the numbers are back to the Birmingham conference. And think about that we are gathering the interest for our clerks who want to be together, to learn, to enjoy. And not only has the staff put together a good conference, but you'll get 10 points, I believe. And then there's more opportunity for networking. You're not running from class to class. They've reduced the time to give us an opportunity to talk, or if you see somebody in the hall. One thing I would caution you and ask you to do this year is that if you see a first timer that seems confused, I remember being confused as a first timer, and they're over to themselves, or they're eating in the hall, or they're in the lunchroom, or whatever they're doing, and they seem that they are by themselves. Please gather them together in your group and help them enjoy the conference. There's nothing worse than being new and feeling like you are set aside because people are busy, you know, with their own group, with their own classes, with their own whatever. And we don't gather them in for our membership to help them, because these are the lasting friendships of people we meet at our conference, on a Zoom meeting now, in a telephone conversation, that might be that friendship that makes a difference in your life. And I truly can speak to that because I have several, and people who are precious on different levels. So, as you know, at the upcoming conference, we have constitutional amendments. There are about 10 or 12 of them. Most of them are not really big things, but just things we thought we needed to take care of once and for all. Mary Johnston, past president, was the chair of the task force that was appointed, and she will be in our business meeting and reading the amendments to go forward. We're going to try to do them all at one time, but if there is discussion, we definitely would entertain whatever questions the membership has. And then at the same meeting, we will be announcing officially the vice president candidacy in the winter, which is Dawn, as you know. And then we'll turn over the change of guard, so to speak, and Mary Ann Hess will take the helm, And I have no doubt that she won't do a wonderful job. She's a sweet Southern lady like nobody I have met. So she has just a very sweet way about her. She's very contemplative. And when she says something, you want to listen to what she says because it's always important. Also, I think it's important that we attend our district meetings. That's where you see people that you probably have never seen before throughout your district. And then you can pick up with people you know in your own state. And then if your district has a dinner, we do district dinner, some do, some don't, some just get together and have a good time. If you can attend those, I would encourage you to do that. We always have a lot of laughs and fun and just something else. The other thing you want to do, if you, I don't know if you can get in, but we have an offsite session and it's going to be at Target Field, which is where the Minnesota Vikings, or is it the baseball game? Who is it, Camilla? Twins, Minnesota Twins. Thank you. I saw her mouth. She didn't, I saw her lips. I can read lips. Imagine that. But they are a totally green arena. And we got to see a little bit of what they do, but it is an amazing process. And they meet the green standard that they need to meet in order. I mean, they're certified throughout whatever green in the United States or the world or whoever they need to be. And they even have an area that they use off season for receptions and weddings. And I really thought that was cool. Who would have thought that they're at a baseball arena that you could have a wedding? But they've got it set up well, it's really nice. And there's a morning and an afternoon session, but I got to do a little bit of the tour. And of course, they wouldn't tell everything, but with what I was able to listen to and experience when I was there last July, it's just an awesome place because of the strategies and the green opportunities that we have done. Okay, so this is Corey. He is the Belgian Brussels, and we rescued him last September. And he's only 2, but he is a pistol, let me tell you. Okay, get down. So, yeah, we're crazy people. What can I say? Some have, I guess people have their things, mine's a rescue. But is there any questions? When people sign up, they have the opportunity to ask a question so we can be prepared and maybe provide information, or somebody else can provide the information if I don't know it, because I'm not all knowing, that's for certain. But does anybody have any questions? Dawn, would you like to say a little something to the group as our new VP-elect?
Good morning. First of all, for me, it's really early. It's 7 a.m. over here. So I'm still in my pajamas and it's raining again here. I just want to, for those of you that supported me, thank you for your support. And I'm really excited about the opportunity, but I'm really nervous too. I know Pamela and Mary know exactly how that feels. But I am committed to this organization. I am committed to the members to listen. I may not always have the answers or be able to wave a magic wand, but I remember, like Pamela, what it's like when I first attended my IIMC conference as a new member. It was overwhelming, intimidating, yes, and particularly since I'm hearing impaired, which made things a little more challenging for me. But I'm passionate about being a city clerk. I've been doing this for 35 years, probably a little more. I started when I was very young in local government. I love what I do. I love the community I serve in right now. It's a very challenging community, extremely challenging on many levels. But I think that's what keeps me going. And I just want to pay it forward, because sometime in the near future, I'm going to retire. And I want to make sure that I am working with some of my mentees now to give them the tools they need to be successful. And that's really, to me, what it's all about, paying it forward and sharing with others. and I look forward to returning to a conference. I was supposed to come last year and I got ill and I was unable to get on an airplane. I have Meniere's, so it's vertigo in the inner ear, and it kicked in right before I was set to leave. So I couldn't get on an airplane. But Every's my hearing service doc. Some of you have met her. We'll be there in Minneapolis, and we look forward to being a part of the conference and cheering Pamela on and being her support for her at her conference. Pamela, you've done an amazing job. And I want to thank you and Mary for your leadership. And I really hope I live up to the legacy you've left on IIMC.
Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. Mary, since you haven't been to a conference, and I don't know if everybody that is on the Zoom knows you as an IIMC president, now past, and I'm going to be joining the club. Do you want to say a little something for the crowd as a past president?
Sure. And I'll just echo what Dawn said. Pam, you've done a wonderful job as president. And, you know, it's been a challenging year in many aspects, but you've done a great job. And IIMC is such a wonderful organization. And even though I've, you know, retired from city clerk, I can't quite get retirement right. So I keep filling in other cities around Texas as their city secretary retires or moves on and they're left with a gap. And I've done some interim work, and I have another interim thing set up for when I get back from conference in the beginning of June at a small community here in Texas to fill in while they search for their new city secretary. So I just can't quite get this retirement thing down, but the conference is exciting, and it looks like it's going to be a wonderful educational experience. And I have to say, kudos to the staff for the new registration process. That was amazing. You know, just went so slick. And if you all haven't downloaded the app, you need to get there, because it is busy. People are exchanging information, and, you know, it's a great way to connect. So I'm just, you know, thrilled that the organization is in such good hands and it's moving forward. And that's what you want to see. And I think Pam would agree. You want to, you know, you see who's coming behind you to take the reins, and you're like, you go for it. You know, it's you know, and it's nice to just be able to be past president and offer your support, and then, you know, let the new folks, you know, take the reins and go for it. So, but looking forward to being back.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to say anything? Elko from the Netherlands, you want to say hello to the group? Come on, just say hello.
Yeah. Whoa. I was just looking for the button. Hey, it's afternoon here. Eh? It is Friday afternoon, so it's almost beer time, as you know. But no, very nice to be here, and also very nice to see Mr. Smith walking.
Yes.
So I hope he's doing well, and I'm so excited that it's only 5 weeks, and then we see each other again. So I'm very looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You know, it's always nice to have our international partners with us, and for most people who have, you know, when you go to a conference, we are comfortable in our own. I don't like the word clique, because I think that is a very negative connotation, but we are more comfortable in our own group, people that we are with in our own state, rather than reaching out or getting to know or bringing somebody forward with the international group, or a brand new clerk or a brand new member that has never been to a meeting before. And we need to wrap our arms around those people and get to know, because, you know, you never know the opportunity that you are going to have by meeting other people, by getting to know, because these clerks and across the water in the United States, in a big city, a small city, a medium city. Thank you, Michelle. Michelle doesn't have a camera, so she just wanted everybody to know. That's why we see a little people thing there. But you never know what that person is going to mean to your life and what they're going to bring to you. So I just want you know, I'm a big proponent in grabbing somebody and just say, you know, I'm Pamela Smith, and I sit down at the table. I don't know a soul. And is it comfortable? No, it's not always comfortable. It's more comfortable for me to hang out with somebody that I'm very comfortable with. But when I first moved to Florida, I had a problem fitting in because I was an established clerk and I was recognized by Mary Lou Rand. I know you remember her particularly, Mary or Dawn, Camilla, as a past president in 98, 99. And she and I were good friends, but she let the Florida Association know that, I was willing to work and get involved, but I was not accepted readily to begin with. My very first conference was in Jacksonville, and I felt so bad. I would try to go to class and nobody would talk to me. I ended up going to the movies every single day because I just was not accepted. So I made up my mind that I was going to do something about the Florida Association, and I loved them very much. But I made up my mind to make sure that anybody else who was brand new, to encourage them and help them to feel accepted. And that's what we should be doing, is helping our members feel accepted. As you know, our board meetings are on Friday and Saturday. We have usually Friday, we have some training for the board, but you're more than welcome. If you don't have anything better to do and you come in, you are more than welcome to come on Saturday. If you don't attend one of the additional pre-conference sessions, you can always come to the board meeting. And remember, there are Athenians every Saturday and Sunday. Oh, and I forgot to mention, Elko is the newest Athenian fellow facilitator. I finally got it. Facilitator, and the only one in the Netherlands. And Camilla was his mentor so that he could begin his career as an Athenian dialoguer. So I told Camilla recently it would be really cool if at an IIMC conference, if she and Elko could do a book together, the flavor of the states and the international community together at one of the conferences. So I'm hoping that staff will think that's a great idea, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. That's just a just a suggestion. I see Angela Richburg is on. I don't see her picture, but as I mentioned before, Angie is one of the Region 4 directors, and she's done a great job. I really got to talk with her and spend some time. I picked people up at the January mid-year meeting in California, in between everything else we had to do, but it was kind of fun picking people up, having a conversation, getting to know directors that you don't know as well as others, because there never seems to be enough time when the board is together to really talk to each other personally and to find out what they're about, their families, and what they do. So I've just always, thought a good idea. And Angela, I'm sorry, she goes by Angela and I called her Angie, just like I go by Pamela rather than Pam. I really try to be conscious of that, but like all people, sometimes I misstep as well. Thank you very much for being sweet. She says, no problem. So let's see, I really don't have any big news except that, yay for me, I'm almost past president, and talking about how good the staff has been this year. I was telling Mary and, Karen earlier that you don't know how to appreciate the staff on a higher level until you become president and they are there for you. You ask a question, you need something, a meeting to be taken care of, a Zoom or a phone call, they're right on top of it. If you have problems and you can't submit your travel forms, oh my gosh, and I am right there. Janet and I will have a travel session because I have so much to submit. I did good for a while, but life happens and sometimes you just can't get those doggone travel things in and with all the receipts. And it's a process, once you go somewhere to make sure that you can, and I'm very particular about my receipts and stuff. So I hope they are still where I put them and I can remember. So that's pretty cool for me. So like most women, I think if you put something somewhere the first time, I can go right to it. If I get this huge idea and think, oh, wow, this is a better place, and I move stuff to that better place, I am in trouble because I can't find it and I tear the house apart. So I've done that a whole bunch, but with receipts, I'm good. But, as you move up into IIMC, there is always an opportunity. If your director is coming off the board this year or next year, we've got all of our slots filled, but directors come off every year. I would encourage you to look and see are you interested? Your state does not have to write a letter anymore. You just have to fill out the application by the deadline. If you're the only one, you're automatically the director. If two people want it, then there'll be an election. But what better way to serve IIMC for your particular states and districts than to be a district director? By doing so, you have the ability to get more involved. You're more in tune with what your members need because you're responsible for telling them the information, precipitating what they need to know in order to know IMC better. Well, if you don't want to do that, you have another option. And that option is being a committee member. IIMC is built on committees. If we don't have volunteers, and our committees would fall apart because they do a very important job. They're goal set. The president-elect and VP, they choose their chairs or vice chairs, who eventually become their chairs. It's just something that is a process, but it's very rewarding. I haven't served on all, but I've served on almost every one of them. And Karen has put in the chat box the application process. And if you think it's too late to apply, it isn't. Marianne and Lisa Garcia in Arizona, who is coming into, she's VP now, but will be president-elect on Wednesday morning. It's not too late to submit an application if there is a committee that you think you want to serve on. So please do so. And Maria Miranda will get those applications to both of them so that you can be appointed. And they really do try to give you your first option. Sometimes the committee is already full and you get your second or third choice, but it doesn't matter which committee you serve on. Each of them have a really smart and important job to do. And on top of that, you receive, if you're trying to achieve your CMC or MMC, you receive that 1 point and annually. And sometimes that 1 point is all you need to complete the points you need to get your certification. I know that happened to me with my MMC. I needed 1/4 of a point. I'm going, oh my gosh, I didn't think I would ever get there. But because again, it's a journey that we all go through if we are wanting to obtain our MMC or CMC. I would also encourage you to look at the e-letter or whatever that little thing is that comes out on Wednesday, or your news digest. Chris always makes sure that you have the upcoming online educational sessions that Dr. Rodriguez has put together. So we wanted more. And when Dr. Rodriguez came online, we said, there's got to be something else we can offer our clerks. And every quarter she puts together 2 additional educational sessions. They're very inexpensive, and the link is there. I see that Karen just put up to sign up. If you sign up for it and you cannot attend the session that day, you can go on our Facebook page and you're able to obtain that information and you get your certificate, which is good because every certificate makes a difference. But at the same time, every one of these that I have attended have been very informative. Conversation is good, but it's not for us to converse with the speaker. It's for us to listen and find out the information on leadership, or HR. There's a plethora of topics that she has done and is looking at. So that's another opportunity for more points, get a certificate, to get involved and see what IMC has to offer. So just to mention, I was talking to Karen because I recognize with myself whenever I am reading all the information that comes out, the reason I print out the News Digest, I may skim over things and I don't necessarily absorb it, so to speak. So I was telling Karen, you know, sometimes people who sign up for the 10 o'clock or the 3 o'clock don't realize that the link works for the 10 o'clock and the 3 o'clock. So if you cannot, you've signed up for the 10 o'clock, you can use it for the 3 o'clock or vice versa. So if you know anybody who says, I signed up for whichever time, but I wasn't able, so I missed it completely, please let them know that link works for either session. And I'm pretty sure that Marianne is going to follow suits with the Zooms with the president, which I think when Mary Johnston put this together in 19 because of COVID, it was one of the best things that we did, because there's very often not enough time for the president to interact in person. And some people never get to see who that person is. If you're not at the conference and you don't know them, this gives you an opportunity to see the person, ask questions, anything that you might want to bring forward, because we all have questions. And if you have a question about a topic, you know, well, most people or other people have the same questions. You know, if you know me well, I ask questions all the time, and I can be very aggravating if I feel like I'm not getting an answer I'm looking for, and I try to ask it again. But I figure if I have the question, somebody else in the crowd probably has the same question. And I think questions are good. You know, sometimes people say, this is a stupid question, but they preface their question by that. And we shouldn't do that, because there is not a stupid question. There's a question that you need an answer to, and that's important for whatever reason you need that answer. So, you know, as I go off on president, as being the past president, I can tell you that my year has been very full. Of course, when I talk about it, I get emotional because it means a lot. It really does. You know, to know that you've got your members behind you, that you have made a difference, hopefully, in somebody's life, that you've touched somebody. But I think the more important part of that is people touch your life as president, and they don't even know it. Just a casual conversation that you have with somebody, or meet somebody from the international community that has a totally different perspective on stuff. And sometimes you think they're crazy, but if you listen to what I see Yoko, he sat up real straight. But if you listen to what they have to say, we have the same problems, we have same situations. They may have their government and their cities, municipalities structured somewhat differently. They are treated with much more respect than we are treated in most of our municipalities as a city clerk. And their opinions are valued. And I think that's something that we can learn from the international community, because in being friends with them over the years, and so many of them have, you know, offered just conversation, and to learn how they feel and what they go through has made me a stronger person, to know that I am important in my own municipality, in my own clerking world, and in my ability to mentor somebody else or to speak up for myself. And, you know, sometimes we don't do that very well. We want somebody else to speak up for us. But it's time that we become stronger in the clerk that we are. We need to just step out of our comfort zone. That's all you have to do. and let your council know, or your mayor know, or your city manager know. And trust me, I can tell you it's not easy. I dealt with a really bad city manager for 20 years in Sanibel, but I learned one thing is I was much stronger than I thought I could be. And I stood up, and I think it made me a better clerk too, because I wasn't there to take her job. I was there to do the best job I could do, but I was also there to help my community and answer their questions, and to be an ethical city clerk that has integrity, that is always willing to answer that question. But you know, sometimes when you're having a bad day, it's not really wonderful when you have the public come to the counter and you go, oh my gosh, one more person. But you never know what you might say to them and how it might change their lives. Because I can tell you, through the journey of life, if you look back on where you've been, your clerking career, your IMC career, your state or country career, you will find that there are people that don't even know, and I said this before, that touch your life in such a way that made a difference. And those are the people that may never know. But you know, there's that saying, a friend for a time, a friend for a season, and a friend for all time. I'm paraphrasing, of course, because I don't say that very well, but I really do believe that is true, that there are people who are there. And sometimes we just have to step out of our comfort zone and have that conversation to get to know somebody different, because you might never know how you help them, but definitely how they don't help you. So, golly, Pete, I've been doing all this talking. I'm sort of rambling, so I certainly apologize if anybody have any questions or any comments. We are 16 minutes to 11, and we certainly have enough time if you're tired of hearing me talk. Maybe. Camilla, please.
Thank you. You reached out and said a few words about the committees. I was going to ask the question, while we always encourage individuals to sign up for committees, are our current committees in good shape for the coming year? Do we need to keep promoting that more? Do you have any idea on that?
If you're talking about the number of members per committee?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so, you know, we do try to balance the numbers on the committee. So one committee is not overloaded and another committee is short, because if there's work to do, it's not fair to the chair and the vice chair. So I know we really got, like last year, we got a huge amount of new clerks wanting to serve. And this year we did the same. Okay. So I know they're pretty much balanced, but thank you, Michelle. Michelle said she needed these comments this morning, but they're pretty much balanced. But that doesn't mean just because they're balanced, we can't accept more membership, because, you know, there's never a time that we will ever tell one person, so sorry, you can't serve, because that might be the beginning of their journey with IIMC. And well, that's how I got involved once I joined IIMC as a new clerk and started being on committees, because I wanted to know more. And that's the only way to know more, is to get involved. Well, Smith is now shutting all the windows because the humidity is finally enough. We need the air back on. I have a really bad habit when it's really comfortable first thing in the morning, like at 5 o'clock, to open up the doors and windows. And then he has to walk around and shut everything, because it is a little warm in the house, but only because of the humidity. So if you see him walking around, that's what he's doing. But, you know, getting back to committees. Go ahead, Camilla.
I was going to thank you for answering that, because of course we never want to turn anybody down. We're always encouraging people to apply, but just wanted an idea to see if we're in good shape, or do we really need to be pushing it more or not?
Well, you know, I don't know that we really need to be pushing it, but I always think the more the merrier. And I have always been a proponent of pushing committees and applications for people to serve, because I think that leads to people getting more involved. Maybe they want to run for director. Once you're a director, you see you want to, you know, give, or what your goals are for IMC, how you think you can, you know, it isn't what 1 year as president can do, because you can do very little. But as president, you have the opportunity to meet people you would not have met before if you're lucky enough to travel or do a Zoom meeting, to let people know that you are a normal person who had a journey, who had a wish, and you are able to, if you had an election, some people have not, but others, and you know, in recent years, we've had elections, but the members have the ability to choose who they want. And once you vote for vice president, you're actually voting for the president within 3 years, because that office ascends to president. So that's how my journey started. If I had never joined IMC, if I'd never joined a committee, if I didn't decide I wanted to be a director, because the prerequisite for the executive board running for vice president is to be a district director for 3 years. The term is 3 years. And it goes so quickly. You think the year, 1 year as president goes fast. 3 years as a director, you're going, oh my gosh, can I do this for 3 years? And then before you know it, it's your time to go off. It's amazing. But the relationships that you build, and you learn how people think from different districts in the United States, you know, different areas, because I haven't traveled to Idaho or Wyoming, but I did talk extensively to our district director from Wyoming in January, and just to find out what she and her children do and how active they are, and her husband, and they walk and they do all this stuff. And I'm going, oh my gosh, that sounds so tiring. But they are outdoors, cowboy, you know, that type of thing, which I find very interesting, even though my grandparents had a farm and my parents were raised on farms. It's a different lifestyle. In the big cities, you're not going to go and get on a horse or hike into the hills. You do other things, I would assume. I'm sure with Mary being in Texas and Fort Worth and all those big places, she could probably speak to that. But the same thing applies, that no matter where we live and what we do, as a city clerk, a city secretary, what other names we are, because we're not just a city or municipal clerk. There are a variety of names that we go by. We have a journey that we should be proud of, and getting involved in IMC or at the state level or at the district level, that is something that you grow. I don't know what you have in mind for your journey going forward in your job, but if you feel stagnant, maybe you look around and decide, do you need to get involved in IIMC? I'd love to see younger clerks. And, you know, as a matter of fact, you know, not too long ago, the salary survey came out, and I looked particularly for the state of Florida, because of course I live in Florida, and more than half of the clerks that filled out the survey were brand new clerks from 1 to 3 years. So I find my generation is finally retiring, and it is up to my generation as being a clerk to train, just like Dawn talked about, the people behind us, to make them sufficient in what they need to do the city clerk job or deputy city clerk job better. And if we don't do that, then we leave our cities virtually in a mess, because as you know, if that city clerk is not knowledgeable and has not received the right training, then the cities have a tendency to fall apart. The documentation's not there. The councils, you know, are not there. And when I say that, I mean the relationship the clerk builds with their councils, if at all possible, with their staff, and getting the work done precipitates sometimes the flavor of the community. Because I always found in the city clerk's position, I don't care what anybody says, is more important than any city manager will ever be. And that's why I'm a proponent of stepping up and speaking out and making sure that you get your due, but you do your job well, know what you need to do, and find that group of people that can tell you, give you their experience and help you through, because not every day is fun. Sometimes not every year is fun, I can remember several on occasion that just didn't go well. But if you have that group of friends to help you get through it, then, you know, I feel like that networking is what we all need to be a success. And IMC gives you that as well as your state organization. But sometimes we just don't take advantage of that. So we need to really take advantage of that networking possibility. That's why if you bring those new members in, you start their conference out right by recognizing that they are a new member. And it's not hard to see who's new because they've got that little ribbon that says first timer. And we should be looking at those ribbons to see who is a first timer and wrap our arms around them. You know, I hope that you will look at the news digest that I have printed out here, that you will look at the news digest and you will pay attention to the constitutional amendments, because they are written out for you to be able to understand how they read, what the new is, and once it is approved, or if it is approved, how it will read in the Constitution. And if you've never read your Constitution for IIMC, it's not a lot of pages, 15 maybe. You should read that Constitution to know what IIMC is about, because every change that is made from the very beginning has been approved by the members, just like these changes will be. You know, we did clear up some commas and English, you know, some words to make it clearer, just to make it look better. But there are also some information in there that you may have a question about that could answer that. So I would encourage you to read those amendments and know them. So if you want to discuss them, you have the opportunity to discuss them, because you will have that opportunity as a member. And then once the membership at the annual business meeting on Wednesday, and I believe that's May the 17th, if they are passed by the membership at that meeting, then they will go to the whole membership for a vote. And if that passes, then of course, we will redo the Constitution and have a new Constitution just with the amendments. So it's important that you know what you're going to be voting on if you're going to be attending. And, you know, one other thing I wanted to mention is that, you know, when I was a brand new clerk and I attended some of my early conferences, I didn't think it was important to necessarily attend the Wednesday night festivities where we have the banquet and we get to dress up. And I thought, that's not a big deal. But you know, it is, because you have an opportunity to actually dress up in a way you normally wouldn't dress up. How many of us wear evening wear in our everyday life? I certainly don't. And I'm definitely not in the crowd of rich people that go to symphonies and stuff like that. So I enjoy getting to see everybody that is dressed up and attending a dinner and seeing what the MC has to say and who that person is, because the president gets to choose that MC. It's just fun. You know, we always have a very good meal. And then that is when your new president definitely takes over and says a few words, which is always a good thing to see. And you also see your vice president come up to president-elect, and your new elected vice president takes their seat. It's just an awesome thing to see. So I would encourage you to attend, and I also would encourage you to attend Wednesday morning annual business meeting. It's very early. It's very early, but I get up at 5 o'clock most mornings so I can walk. So 7 o'clock is really not early to get down for breakfast at 7:15. Now, come on, really, we can all do that. But we have a plated breakfast. But the bigger part of that is that that's when your president is sworn in, your new president, and your old president says goodbye, and your new president says hello. But you get to discuss the matters of IMC. And if you care, you will attend that business meeting and that breakfast, so you know what is going on, because that's where changes happen. That's where the membership decides that they want those changes. And sometimes you're surprised. I can remember a couple of annual business meetings that have been very interesting. And if you weren't there, you didn't get to see the interest in the conversation of people who had questions. And because we are members, we are guaranteed the opportunity to make those comments or have our say or ask questions. And that is your opportunity to do that. So I see that we have 3 minutes left. Is there anybody who wants to say anything, any questions? You want to borrow my bunny ears? I will let you borrow my bunny ears. I have 2, but I chose the ones with the blue middle because I thought they were prettier than just the plain white. So you may want to wear bunny. Hey, Elko, I think you should wear bunny ears to go have a beer.
Hi, Pamela. May I speak?
Yes, please, Lisa.
Hi, this is Lisa Arpin from Brantford, Connecticut. Hello, everyone, and happy Easter and Passover. I just wanted to insert my true pleasure in being a first timer in Little Rock last year.
Yay.
Everyone, to your credit and to your points, everyone was so welcoming and so helpful. And it's really a joy to see now that I'm going to Minneapolis next month. It's nice to chime in on the conference app and have conversations with folks that I became friends with and who
Awesome.
remembered me as the first timer from Connecticut and the only attendee from Connecticut who had the pleasure and the honor of carrying the Connecticut state flag. So I made my mark last year, and thanks to everyone for their hospitality and friendship.
Thank you, Lisa. So, firsthand, we see what that meant to Lisa and how she felt. That's why I constantly talk about recognize those first timers. And Karen has put in the chat box to download the app. Some good information if you want to take a look for just things we've talked about. I hope that you have a happy Easter, that you're able to, whatever your religion is, to celebrate the way that you want to celebrate. And I look forward to seeing you in May and turning the helm over to Marianne and Lisa. It's been an awesome ride, and I appreciate what you've meant to me and my journey. So I wish you well. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you next time. If you want to join me at 3, I'll be here at 3. Thank you, guys.